You ever pick up your phone to watch, just one quick video, and then you look up and a whole hour has just vanished? Yeah, you're not alone. That feeling, that lost time, is exactly what we're digging into today. The science behind that endless scroll, and what it's actually doing to our brains and even our societies. So there's actually a clinical name for this, short form video or SFV addiction, and it's defined as this uncontrollable urge to just keep watching. An urge so powerful that it starts to push aside really important things, like school, work, or even just getting enough sleep. This isn't just some bad habit we've picked up. It's a real compulsive cycle. All right, so in this explainer, we're going to unpack this whole thing from the inside out. We'll start with the psychological loop of the endless scroll, then dive into what's literally happening inside your brain. After that, we'll zoom out to look at the emotional toll, check out a real-world case study from Nepal, and finally uncover the hidden economic price we might all be paying. Okay, first up, the endless scroll itself. The key thing to get here is that this isn't just about a lack of willpower. It's a feedback loop where the act of scrolling actually chips away at your ability to control yourself. This quote from the research really just nails it. It's a vicious cycle. See, the addiction doesn't just happen because you have low self-control. The act of scrolling itself makes your self-control weaker. So the more you do it, the harder it becomes to stop. So how does this cycle get its hooks in so deep? Well, the answer isn't just in our heads, psychologically speaking. It's neurological. We're talking about actual physical processes firing off inside our brains. And here's pretty much how that cycle works. It usually kicks off with a super common feeling, right? Like boredom or maybe feeling a little lonely. That feeling makes our self-control dip. So we grab the easiest fix there is, our phone. The scrolling gives us this quick little reward, but it doesn't actually solve the loneliness or boredom. And so the loop just starts all over again. But here's where it gets wild. This whole cycle of behavior, it doesn't just happen in the brain. Over time, it can physically change the brain's structure. Neuroimaging studies let us peek under the hood, and what they found is pretty incredible. They've seen physical changes in two key areas that basically act as your brain's CEO. The first one, the orbital frontal cortex, is what helps you weigh the consequences of your actions. The second, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, is kind of like the brain's emergency brake for your impulses. The research shows that chronic scrolling can literally alter these parts of your brain, making it physically harder to make good decisions and fight that urge to just keep watching. So, okay. We see the changes in the brain's hardware, but what about how we actually feel? Beyond all the brain chemistry, there's a really steep emotional price. And researchers are finding this cycle can lead to this deep sense of meaninglessness, what they're calling an emptiness epidemic. It all comes down to a fundamental trade-off we're making every single day. The scroll offers easy, fleeting pleasure. It's totally passive, it's a great distraction. But real, lasting fulfillment, that comes from actively doing things, from persevering, stuff like building a real friendship or mastering a new skill. The problem is we are constantly trading that deep, meaningful stuff for a cheap, temporary high. And the result of making that trade over and over again is what some are calling an existential void. The research connects heavy use of short-form video with more loneliness, more depression, lower self-confidence, and just this nagging feeling of being disconnected or without a purpose. That quick hit of pleasure from the scroll comes at the very real cost of our deeper satisfaction with life itself. Now, these individual effects are worrying enough. But what happens when you scale that up to an entire country? The experience of Nepal, which is a developing nation, gives us a really powerful look at the real-world consequences on a massive scale. The impact in Nepal has been, well, it's been stark. We're seeing the very fabric of society start to fray. You've got disruptions inside families, a rise in cyberbullying. The effects are even showing up in the youngest kids with developmental problems like delayed speech. And for young people, depression is on the rise. All of this puts a huge strain on the country's mental health system. The whole situation got so serious that in late 2023, the government of Nepal took the pretty drastic step of banning TikTok outright. They cited the need to protect social harmony and the mental health of their youth. And yeah, that ban was eventually lifted, but the deep concerns about the platform's impact on their society, those are still there. And those social issues, they have a direct spillover effect into our final topic, the hidden economic cost. Because when a nation's young people are distracted and disengaged, it's not just a social problem. The country's entire economic productivity is put at risk. You can almost see it as a chain of economic dominoes falling. It starts in the classroom, with students not achieving as much. That leads to a workforce that has fewer critical skills. Then, that lowers labor productivity across the entire economy. And the final domino to fall? Stunted economic growth for the whole nation in the long run. When you look at the chart, you can really see the drag on the economy. Youth unemployment creeps up as people check out. Work efficiency and new ideas go down, and of course, healthcare costs shoot up to deal with all the mental health fallout. For any country, sure, but especially a developing one, these are serious headwinds to be fighting against. And this quote kind of sums up the ultimate danger. We could be looking at a new kind of digital divide, not about who has access to tech, but about the effects of that tech. The big risk is that this constant pull of digital entertainment could actually stop a whole nation from reaching its most important long-term goals. Which leaves us with this one last question to chew on. These platforms, they're all built on this promise of connection, of bringing us all closer. But when you look at the data, from the wiring in our own brains to the social fabric of an entire country, you just have to wonder, in a world that's so desperate for connection, are we just scrolling ourselves into an even deeper state of isolation?